He has a ball! Go away!
He's got a bob on him!
Police warned passers-by to get back before shooting down the suspect behind today's attack outside a synagogue in North Manchester that has left 2 victims dead and 3 seriously injured. Just outside the fence, one of them, a security guard, lies with stab wounds. This image from the scene, which has been widely circulated, appears to show the suspect. He is now believed to be deceased. Officers said his condition cannot be confirmed due to safety issues surrounding suspicious items on his person. The morning's events unfolded in Crumpsall in North Manchester. At 9:31, Greater Manchester Police were called to the synagogue by a member of the public who said he'd seen a car being driven into people and that one man had been stabbed. The police were dispatched straight away, and at 9:38, firearms officers shot the man believed to be the offender. He is thought to be dead. Paramedics arrived at 9:41 to treat multiple people with injuries caused by both vehicle and stab wounds. 2 of them have now been confirmed dead. Moments after the attack, the police declared Plato, the national code word used by emergency services when responding to terror attacks. A COBRA meeting will take place later today.
The attack in Manchester this morning is absolutely shocking, and all of our thoughts are with those affected. I'm on my way back to London. When I arrive, I will chair an emergency COBRA meeting. I'm already able to say that additional police assets are being deployed to synagogues across the country, and we will do everything to keep our Jewish community safe.
Eyewitnesses described their shock that a synagogue had been the target.
We're quite a cultured community. There's, my neighbour's Muslim, my other neighbour's Sikh, my neighbour after that's Jewish, my neighbour after that is Christian.
It's horrific. I mean, at this point, too much hatred against Jewish people. I mean, everywhere you go, there's hatred.
The attack coincides with Yom Kippur, one of the holiest days in the Jewish calendar, and a time when synagogues like this are particularly busy. Neighbouring MP Christian Wakeford has worshipped at the synagogue himself.
The rabbi is a friend of mine. It's one of those where I just thoughts and prayers for all those who've already suffered in the attack. I think we're all waiting for answers.
In a statement, the King said, "My wife and I have been deeply shocked and saddened to learn of the horrific attack in Manchester, especially on such a significant day for the Jewish community. Our thoughts and prayers are with all those affected by this appalling incident, and we greatly appreciate the swift actions of the emergency services." Those actions are still ongoing. A bomb disposal unit is on the scene, and police are deploying additional resources to synagogues around the country. Jaranpreet Khera, ITV News.
Well, when we came on air, it's been reported that hospitals across Greater Manchester are now in lockdown since the attack, with people being urged to stay away from A&E unless their condition is life-threatening. Let's take you live to the scene of the attack itself and join our North of England reporter, Jonathan Brown. Jonathan, can you describe what's happening there, first of all, this lunchtime, of course, and also the wider impact on the area?
Well, as you can probably tell, there is a huge police presence in this part of northern Manchester around this synagogue. I'm stood a few hundred yards from where this incident happened, and this is about as close as we can get. That's because this is very much an ongoing and early part of this investigation. If you look behind me, you should be able to see past the photographers that there are dozens of fire engines and unmarked police cars as the emergency services examine what's become the scene of an atrocity. We've seen riot vans, bomb disposal units and fire engines coming in and out of this cordon over a couple of hours now, and you might also be able to hear that there's a police helicopter hovering overhead. We've also been told on the ground here that many houses in this area have been evacuated, as have some places of worship. We've also been told, as you've said, that in the last few minutes a number of hospitals locally have been locked down. People only urged to go in emergency circumstances to A&E. Meanwhile, this normally busy route into Manchester is closed to traffic and probably will be for the foreseeable future.
Jonathan, you describe it as a scene of an atrocity, also a scene of shock and fear, no doubt. We heard from some of the people who live nearby who heard what happened this morning.
absolutely. As we've heard, this incident happened on Yom Kippur. That's the holiest day on the Jewish calendar. On top of that, we're in an area that's known for its large Jewish community. There are dozens of synagogues in this part of Manchester. That's been evident from some of the crowds surrounding this cordon, for example, many wearing religious dress. We've also got everyone from children to older, elderly people here. Some have even brought chairs from their homes out onto the street so they can get a closer look as to what's happening on this cordon. Now, we've also spoken to some people, as you say, worried about the safety of their loved ones. That's partly made more difficult by the fact that during Yom Kippur, people normally abstain from using technology, but there are of course fears as to whether this is an isolated attack or not. That's why the Prime Minister has said that extra police assets will be deployed at synagogues. In the meantime, people here are just hoping that no more lives are lost.
Absolutely. Jonathan, for now at the scene there, thank you very much. Let's get more on the response then from the Prime Minister and the government this morning. As we said a little earlier, Sir Keir Starmer flew back from that meeting in Copenhagen to chair an emergency meeting in Downing Street. Our political correspondent Shihab Khan is there for us this lunchtime. What more can you tell us at this stage, Shihab?
Yeah, at this exact moment, what we know is that emergency COBRA meeting will be taking place later this afternoon. That will bring together emergency services personnel, the most senior members of staff within a number of government departments, to liaise and discuss about what is the best way to deal with this. Those meetings are often chaired by different cabinet ministers. Today, it will be chaired by the Prime Minister, who, Nina, as you say, has cut his trip to Denmark short. He was there meeting with European leaders. The idea was to discuss different types of policy, including immigration. Instead, he's cut that meeting short because of this incident. We've also heard from the Prime Minister in which, as was already mentioned in Charanpreet's report, that additional police assets have been deployed. He's also already spoken with the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, and with senior Jewish community leaders. We've also heard, away from the Prime Minister, from other political leaders in the last few hours or so. The Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Badenoch, Nigel Farage, the Leader of Reform UK, and Ed Davey have all posted on social media condemning the attack. There's something that unites all the political leaders here in Westminster today, is that everyone is condemning what we've seen so far. For the Prime Minister, who is now currently en route, as someone who's travelled with the Prime Minister at a time of major international incidents, I can tell you with pretty good confidence that he will probably be being briefed on that flight so that he's ready as soon as he lands to get here into Downing Street to hold that meeting to discuss the best way to deal with this. And as we saw previously when there was the Southport attack, for example, the Prime Minister tends to be very strong when it comes to communities being attacked. We know this is something that is personal to him. His wife is from a Jewish background, so we'll have to wait and see exactly what comes out of that meeting. But at the moment, the message from the Prime Minister has been very clear. He condemns this attack.
Shihab Khan, thank you very much. Thank you. We've seen a rise in attacks on and abuse towards Jewish communities in recent months and years. We don't yet know why a synagogue was targeted, but it's clearly an horrific attack, and it will send a shockwave throughout the country. Our correspondent John Ray is with me. This only happened 4 hours ago, so in terms of the investigation, really early days.
Yeah.
But what's the latest you've got?
Well, we have a whole load of questions and not many answers yet, Nina, to be totally honest with you. The police will want straight away, once they've assured that the situation is under control, which apparently it is. This was an incident over in 7 minutes. The first thing they need to know is the identity of the suspect. That itself might be complicated because of fears that he has an explosive device strapped to his body. Bomb disposal experts are there. And then the next big question is, once they have the identity, was this man on some kind of MI5 watch list? Is he an individual radicalized, or is this part of a wider plot? Are there any links with wider terrorist organizations, non-state and state actors? As I say, we've got to be very, very careful. We don't at the moment know this man's identity, and we don't know his motivation at all. But those are the steps that the police will want to very rapidly go through in the coming hours.
Absolutely. While we wait for some of those answers, we must discuss really the context and the timings. This came on Yom Kippur, when lots of Jewish people throughout the country will be in synagogues, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and also coming up to the second anniversary of those October the 7th attacks on Israel.
Yeah, neither of those things are a coincidence. As you say, synagogues up and down the land are very busy today, the most solemn, sacred day of the Jewish calendar. And I think it's now widely accepted that Israel's war in Gaza has injected a great deal of toxicity into community relations. A little earlier, an hour or so ago, we had a statement from the Israeli embassy in the UK giving their reaction to an attack, which of course they condemned. They said that such an act of violence should be perpetrated on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar in a place of prayer and community is abhorrent and deeply distressing. And they added that the thoughts and prayers of the people of Israel are with the victims, their families, and the entire Jewish community at this difficult time. They've also called on the UK government to ensure the safety and security of all Jewish communities in the UK. We know that this is coming at a time where relationships between the two governments are fractured over the issue of the recognition of the state of Palestine. I have to also say that this has been roundly condemned by Islamic organisation in this country. The British Muslim Trust said this is a despicable and cowardly and abhorrent act, and that Muslims in this country stand with Britain's Jewish community.
Let's take you back to our story developing this lunchtime. A suspected terror attack in Manchester. 2 people have been killed in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester this morning. It happened on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar, Yom Kippur. Within a few minutes, armed officers were on the scene and shot the suspect, who is believed to have died. 3 people are in a serious condition in hospital. A woman who heard what happened described her fear.
Honestly, I'm frightened. I'm really scared, because the biggest worry is we're already being quite divided, and for someone that, you know, we build off our culture. Our different cultures make us stronger together, and that's how we can build together. And it's really frightening to watch everything just fall apart.
The Prime Minister has flown back from a summit in Denmark to chair an emergency COBRA meeting this afternoon. Let's take you back to the scene now and join our North of England reporter Jonathan Brown. Jonathan, just a few hours after the attack happened, people are just hearing about it and others are processing what they've seen and what has happened.
Absolutely, people are just standing and waiting for news here at the moment. There have been prayers that the remaining injured here survive this attack. This after news that 2 members of the public have died and another person believed to be the attacker is also presumed dead. Greater Manchester Police said they were called to reports that a car had been driven towards a member of the public and 1 person had been stabbed outside the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue at 9:31 this morning. 7 minutes later, armed police shot the suspect. Now, police say they can't verify the attacker's death due to what they describe as suspicious items on his person. That's why we've seen bomb disposal teams here today. This, as we've said, was an attack outside a synagogue in an area that's known for its strong Jewish community. There are dozens of synagogues in this part of Manchester, but there's also an area known for its tolerance. There's a strong Muslim community too here that people here say lives peacefully alongside the Jewish community. That's why this attack has left people in such disbelief. In the meantime, we're expecting more information from the police in the coming hours.
Jonathan Brown, thank you. John, we need that tolerance and talk of that tolerance, don't we? This is an attack which could lead to more fear in an already divided society. Yeah,
this was an incident that was over in 7 minutes. 9:31 this morning, the alarm was raised. 9:38 this morning, the police arrived and shot dead the suspect. But we will be living with the ramifications of this potentially for a long, long time to come. There is no way of overestimating the amount of shock that people will feel. But at the same time, not a surprise, Nina, we've known that there has been a huge rise in the amount of anti-Semitic incidents in this country after the beginning of Israel's war in Gaza, a tripling of abuse, but not an attack of this kind, which I'm thinking is, in my memory, is certainly unprecedented. And then the investigation to come, the who, the how and the why this has happened. I think the only certainty we have at this lunchtime is that we have a Jewish community in this country numbering just around 300,000 people on their most sacred, solemn day of the year. They will be feeling ever so vulnerable today.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, the police have been sent to synagogues across the country today. John Ray, thank you very much.